Hello friends, guess what time it is? Time for another walk. Val's is not open today. A little cool today, 50 degrees, a little raw feeling sort of. Supposed to get some rain tonight, a little bit tomorrow. Kind of off and on for the next 3 days. So I guess there's that. It was beautiful yesterday though. Now you would have thought I would have walked yesterday because it was so beautiful, but I had things to do, and isn't that always the timing, you know? So anyway, what I'm doing today is, besides trying to hear myself talk over these cars, is I'm going to go to what I call a local mom and pop shop, a record store. I want to see what they have for used records. Haven't done that for a while. They have more used records at this shop here in Lewiston, and the reason why I say more used records, I should say, the reason why I call it a mom and pop shop is Bullmoose music started out in the mall, one of the malls here in Lewiston, where they had a cart, and they just had a cart inside the mall, and they were selling used tapes at the time, used cassettes, and a few other things. I remember buying stuff there in the 80s. So what they did is they opened a store in Brunswick, and it became very successful, selling used DVDs, used videotapes, used cassette tapes. Then of course there were CDs that came out, and a lot of people didn't really carry used vinyl records because the industry was switching to CD. Thank you. The industry was switching to CDs, and they weren't even issuing vinyl. And for a while there, they couldn't even give vinyl records away. So the problem vinyl records had at the time is it was considered an old technology, outdated. We had this new digital stuff, compact disc, much smaller to carry around, you can play them in your car, you know, that sort of thing. So they obviously caught on, but they did not sound as good as vinyl records. Now, a lot of the modern stuff today, recorded digitally and mastered for digital audio, sounds pretty decent. Some of the first CDs that came out did not, though. Well, it's definitely a little cool today. Sounds crazy, but I feel like I should have brought my gloves. I don't want to walk with my hands in my pockets because it's a bad rhythm. So anyway, this Bullmoose store grew into a second store, then a third store, then a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth. And you got Bullmoose music in most towns, bigger towns in Maine. Bangor, Brunswick, Skowhegan, Lewiston. And it's kind of cool. And now they are truly a mom and pop shop, and they're not corporate. They have stayed true to that, and the Bullmoose musics now belong to the employees, so they are franchised, which is kind of cool. So anyway, the point being is they do carry used records. I've gone there once since the end of the pandemic. Didn't really see anything I wanted. A lot of the prices did seem pretty reasonable for used vinyl, $4 or $5 a piece. I don't know if that's still the case now because vinyl records have gone through the roof, and they don't list their used vinyl on their website, so I don't know. So I'm gonna go look, see what they have. There's a couple more of those old cars across the street that they do for, I think they flip those cars, they restore them and sell them because there's always cars out there, which is kind of cool. Pretty awesome. I want that duster. Well, that said just about all you needed to know. Don't need any commentary added by me. So anyway, we're going to go see what they have. Maybe I'll be able to find something to plug a couple holes in the collection. Would love to find a couple of Pat Travers albums I don't have. Maybe something else people don't think is worth anything. Who knows what I'm gonna find. Might end up going there with getting nothing except some exercise. So it is about 2.5 miles there, 2.5 to 3 miles. Google Maps says it's 2.5, but I think the last time I walked there after they were closed, just for the sake of walking, it was 3 miles there. So also want to see what they have for leftovers from record store day that they had. They kind of lost me on record store day. You know, I used to go there before the pandemic, and then in 2021 they started the pandemic ease up on that here, and they split record store up among 2 different days. You know, and this is the stupid logic that they use. That's like taking a holiday You know, that's like taking Black Friday and splitting it in half. You have Black Friday and then you have another Black Friday date, so less people will attend. The theory being that less people will be exposed to COVID and it'll be safer. So, I mean, come on, people. So I didn't go that year. And, you know, the thing is they didn't really have a lot of titles lately that I want. They've been coming out with things like previously unreleased live recordings, and well, that's all fine and good, but what that means is when the band wasn't together, it wasn't good enough to release. So I do have a couple of good ones of those though, just because I knew it would be good regardless. Stevie Ray Vaughan, live radio broadcast that he did, absolutely phenomenal. Great album. I'm glad they released it. It had been previously released on CD. So Record Store Day is a good thing. It's geared towards helping the mom and pop shop, the independents. That's the whole purpose of it. So it was very successful. They started that in 2010, I think. I started going in 2012. And it became a yearly thing. Usually around April 20th. Usually when they have it. They had it a couple weeks ago here. And I didn't go because I looked through their list and there really wasn't anything I wanted. One record. I'll see if they have it. What price tag is on it. That's the other thing I don't like about vinyl records today, is the prices have gone up. Partially due to demand, but also partially because of inflation. So both of those together have, well, you used to buy a single vinyl record in 2015-16. It's about $19.99, which if you use an inflation calculator was about the same as the late 80s, which is about $10 for a vinyl record. Cassette tapes were $7.99, $8.99, a couple dollars less. CDs, when they first came out, they cost more than vinyl records. So anyway, that being said, we'll go see what they have left over from Record Store Day. And today, if you get a single album release, it's usually around $30, $25 to $30, which used to be $20 to $25. Double albums used to range from $30 to $35. I'm gonna pay more because there's two records. Now those are $45 sometimes, especially for a national act. CDs are about $17, $18. So I'm sure some people are still buying stuff on CD because of the price. And I used to do that back in the day. You'd get paid and I'd be like, well, I could get 2 records or I could get 3 cassette tapes. I think I'll get the 3 cassette tapes, or 2 cassette tapes and a vinyl record EP for $5. So Hopefully I don't get rained on today, but that's not a guarantee. Seems to be kind of like spotty showers according to the radar. Looks like I got enough time to go there and back and not get wet, but I've seen that before and something would pop up. So we got 1 mile in at 17 minutes. Judy's Barbershop, cash only. Now, small businesses, they still use cash only for a couple of reasons. One, they don't need to pay a credit card company. They don't have to charge the customer a fee for using a credit card. So, the smaller the business, the more cash they take. Huh. Must be construction going on. Look at the traffic. Thank you. Thanks. See that? I was gonna wait. Somebody let me cross. Yep, not a piece of sun in the sky today anywhere. Not a stitch. Well, someone lost their homeless vet sign. Problem with those signs is you don't know if they're a homeless vet. I won't give money to drug addicts and alcoholics. I'm just not going to do it. And I learned my lesson early. Had just done groceries, had a car full of food, pulled over, and it's like, man, here's some bananas. I got apples, you know, bag of potatoes. What do you need? I want money. All right, have a nice day. You're not hungry. If you were hungry, you'd eat the friggin' bag they're in if I offered it, you know? So, it's a scam, unfortunately. You can't even trust the old guy who looks like he's in his 80s, sitting out in an electronic wheelchair with a sign on him. Can't trust anybody. It's too bad, really. And a lot of people are still good-hearted, and you know, they might want to give somebody some money anyway, even if it's not for a good thing. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to do that. Doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me somebody $5 richer. Richer with knowledge too. The real trick is to do something when nobody's looking, because it's somebody that really needs it. So I'm not going to mention the couple times I did that, because then it sounds like I'm just bringing up to be virtuous. Alright, so what do we got for gas here? $3.69. $3.69. We're leveling off until the tourist season starts. Oh, I got some gun news. I'm very surprised by it, but apparently she knows her voter base. Hopefully this sends a message too, to not get too crazy with the anti-gun bills in Maine, because Democrat gun owners don't like it. And I'll tell you what happened. One of the bills was for mechanically assisted triggers, basically calling it a machine gun law. It passed in the House and the legislature, despite staunch opposition explaining to them that if you classify what you're classifying as a machine gun, that's going to ban several types of everyday common firearms from people that own them. If you want to go hunting and you want to adjust the trigger to have an easier pull on the trigger, well, that would be illegal now. You can't modify the firearm to shoot easier. So anything that makes it easier for you to fire a firearm multiple times, they didn't specify in their legislation what the hell they were talking about. So basically, if you did a trigger job on a shotgun, it would turn the shotgun into being classified as a machine gun. And this was the one I was talking about on my walks, where the Democrats quoted the Maine law for machine guns, come up in the 70s, developed in the 70s, as opposed to the federal firearms law. The federal firearms law clearly states they are talking about rifles. So it doesn't apply to pistols, it doesn't apply to shotguns, it doesn't apply to anything except rifles being a machine gun. So, and still, the federal law on it is you pull the trigger once, it fires once. That's why there's such an argument with binary triggers and bump stocks, which I'll get back to bump stocks in a minute. Regardless of how you cause the firearm to fire more quickly, it still fires one round with one trigger pull. So it is not a machine gun. Bump stocks do not turn guns into machine guns. Binary triggers don't either, because it fires when you pull the trigger, and then when you release the trigger, it fires again. That is not a mechanically assisted automatic fire. So those are still being argued with the Supreme Court because of a company that manufactures binary triggers who says that's going to ruin his business. He's all finished if that's, you know. So now Trump foolishly threw some meat to the Democrats because he felt if he gave them something, they might compromise with him on something else. Well, all he's learned is they're going to put him in prison for life. There is no compromise with Democrats, so in the future, don't even bother trying. So the other thing that came up, thank you, is well, the bump stocks and the trigger thing. Now Janet Mills, it came across her desk, and shockingly she vetoed it. And the reason she gave for vetoing it is what I just explained. They were not clear enough, and it harms many hunters in Maine. So she listened to the phone calls, the emails, well, her aides did, and realized that this was not going to be popular among Democrat voters, who basically, so many Democrats own firearms here that I'm surprised they even passed the 72-hour waiting period. Which, by the way, you know, and she thinks this makes her look good, but she didn't sign the 72-hour waiting period legislation that passed. She just let it go through. Because Maine law is, if she doesn't sign it, it goes into law anyway. So that's what she did. She did the same thing with the crazy trans trafficking bill that we have, which is also going to get lawsuits against it. 72-hour waiting period will as well. But, and the reason why it's going to get lawsuits against it is it's going to be what I've been talking about, and other people as well, that if you do that, some woman who is being stalked is going to not be able to defend herself. She doesn't own a firearm and she wants one to protect herself, because the police aren't coming until after something's been done. That's just the way it is. She can call and say, this guy, well, where is he now, ma'am? Oh, he's no longer there. Well, there's nothing we can do, ma'am, sorry. So, in between her getting a restraining order, she has to rely on herself or other people. Now, they passed that other legislation that went through as law, amended to the yellow flag and private gun sales. It was LD 2224, which prohibits the private sale of firearms now unless you are a family member or relative. So I can give my brother a shotgun, no background checks needed, and they stiffen the penalty if that's used in a crime. They didn't really specify what a crime was. Somebody uses it for suicide, well, is that a crime? I'm sure some prosecutor here will try to do that. But so anyway, she let that go into law. So now we have a 72-hour waiting period. And I'm surprised that, you know, I knew she wasn't going to veto that because she's the one that called for gun legislation. And because the Democrats are using the mass shooting in Lewiston that we had. It's very clear, because Janet Mills went on TV and said we need some laws. I know that might be unpopular with some, but we feel it's necessary now in light of what happened. Apparently, we're not as safe as we thought, she said. All right, well, that definitely did not help. But nothing they passed does anything to stop mass shootings, for one thing. And the other thing is, Democrats buy firearms, and now they're going to have to wait 3 days. And I saw a couple of them on the internet who were not happy about it. They didn't even know they were passing this because they don't watch the news anymore. So, holy cow, right? So anyway, we got that going on. So now it is a 72-hour waiting period. The fine for a business violating that is $200. The second offense is $500. So it's not going to be policed. So if you know an FFL who knows you and trusts you, and trusts that you're not going to go do something crazy, they might not even make you wait, because there's no official database to enter the info that this person's on a waiting list. So we'll see what happens, but I gotta find a place to cross here. I need to cross. I'll cross after the high school. Beau's Complete Auto Care. French is Berube. So you'll see a lot of announcers on TV say Berube or Berube. Here it's Berube. So might be something different in France, maybe. Shoot. Just hit 2 miles. Still got the Lewiston Strong outside the YWCA, reminding people that we had a mass shooting. Give it a rest. It's over. It's gone by. It was in October last year, for crying out loud. Get on with it. Oh wow, that's a pretty tree. All kinds of pretty trees today. They're all blooming. I'm getting leaves and flowers. That's pretty cool. Little house on the hill. A house on a hill. As long as it's not a haunted house on a hill. House on Haunted Hill. Vincent Price. That was a good movie. The remake was good too, by the way. They found a spiffy looking English guy who didn't try to copy Vincent Price, because there is no copying Vincent Price. Ooh, got a place to cross. I'm crossing. As you can see, this is a very, very busy road. We've got the high school over here. And again, I'm on public property. Public property. So anyway, the point of what I was talking about with Governor Mills vetoing that bump stock ban, which is what they tried to call it, so they wouldn't call it a machine gun law, but it was a machine gun law. Poorly worded, because that's what Democrats do, because they don't even understand what they're trying to ban. Guns are evil. They're not tools for anything. They don't care that they're guaranteed by the Constitution, because when they wrote the Constitution, they didn't mean or know the stuff we'd have today, they like to say. Well, so that's how we end up with stupid legislation that makes no sense. And at least the governor was smart enough, who used to be an attorney general in Maine, understands the legal challenges it's going to face, and eventually it's going to get overturned anyway. And it's certainly not going to pass the veto. Right? So it's definitely not going to pass being vetoed. And that's just the way that is. This stuff barely passed anyway. 72-hour waiting period, I think, passed by 1, maybe 3 votes. There's one Democrat in Maine, I forgot what district he's in, but whenever he votes for a gun legislation, it's gonna pass, because he is one that always votes against these pro-Second Amendment, and this time he voted for the 72-hour waiting period as a, you know, well, it can't hurt. And that's kind of true, because, you know, we own several firearms. So waiting 3 days to go pick up a firearm after waiting a week and a half to go pick it up, other than saying, well, I bought it and I want the damn thing, it's not something that's necessary. But the 5'2" blonde female who's never owned a firearm has no options now. And it's really unfortunate, because somebody eventually, I think, will probably get hurt at some point, mathematically. And the other thing is, with the new legislation they passed, if I want to help her by lending her one of my shotguns for protection, and she ends up actually having to use it, either because she didn't have time to train, I just showed her the basics, you know, this is how you load it, watch me do that, then show me how you do that, and then she shows me, and blah blah blah. Now she ends up using that in a crime. They have passed legislation here with the private gun sales and transfer of ownership that it doesn't really specify if you lend a firearm to somebody. I'm assuming you would be prosecuted if she ended up using it, and they charge her with manslaughter instead of self-defense, because now she's getting charged with a death and you supplied the firearm without an FFL. So how would you feel if somebody you could have helped and you didn't lend her a firearm to protect herself, and she ends up getting killed or raped or worse or both or whatever? I mean, seriously, how would you feel about that? How angry would you be with legislators? Well, that's a pretty tree. See if I can get a picture of that. See if I can get a shot with the gazebo and the tree. So what happened was, My fitness app decided to stop because I was taking pictures. Apparently I used up too much RAM or something foolish like that. Through the marbles of editing, you're never going to know about that. Now, what the hell are you going through? All right, we're going to go across. I gotta get to the record store. The record store, the record store. Up my walking status. I don't know what the hell it's doing. It's going crazy. So anyway, I got like 3 walks going at one time, and I have no idea why. Well, all right, fine, okay. I screwed that up. I used too much RAM on my phone trying to run the video app and the fitness app and take photos, which I had it on the 50 megapixel instead of 12. Much better color and detail. So anyway, I got a sign here, no public restroom. Oh, nose is definitely running. It is chilly today. We are going to go inside the Moose. We're going to go see what they have at the Moose. You're going to come with me. So this is the Cornhole Pro Shop. Now don't laugh, okay? Cornhole is a game that's played here. It's not what you think. Now I'm gonna go inside here just for the sake of going in here.
You looking for sliders?
Am I looking for what?
Sliders?
Nope.
Oh, okay. You had to, didn't know if you were coming in to go that way.
Nope.
We have a lot of people that will come to go this.
No, I'm just checking out a place I used to hang out when I was a teenager.
Okay. Well, this is an office building that we work with, so it's actually closed just to this area.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check out Bullmoose.
Yeah, you have to go around all the way, like out through this door, because it doesn't go through anymore.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
We just have to make sure we lock up this part of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're good, Beth.
Okay, see you later.
Oh yeah, you're good. So, do you know how to do it or not? Well, if it's okay.
Well Seasons Restaurant. Boy, that woman was thick-headed. Jeez, yes, I get it. I understand. She doesn't seem to understand that I'm here recording, and she's just yakking through my damn video. It's like, holy crap, just shut up, woman. So I'm like, yep, I get it, I understand. Then we got the Family Dollar store. I'll guarantee you that woman was a liberal, because that's what they do. You talk to them, they don't listen to what you're saying, and they just keep talking, you know. And if they stopped and listened to what you were saying, they would shut the hell up because they knew you were saying something pertinent to what she was talking about. So here we are outside Bullmoose. I'm going to go inside and see what they have. I used to own an old Cavalier. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go in here. Hi. Pretty good. And these are leftover record store day records. I'll look through those in a minute. I'm gonna fire up my video app. Oh, look at this. Super Mario Brothers. And this is what I was talking about. It's a double album. And look, it's like $50. Alright, we have soundtracks. And we have this Super Mario Brothers movie. Double album. And that's what I was talking about. That's how much the prices have gone up because of demand and inflation and supply chain. That's also why you've been seeing some record labels investing in their own pressing plants to cut costs, because now they don't have to get somebody else to print them. Here's a Terminator soundtrack, and I have a few of these. I got a couple originals, I got a Korean one. This one here is double album repress. Terminator Dark Fate. So it's one of the newer films. Starship Troopers, kind of a cool movie. Pulp Fiction, I got that soundtrack. That soundtrack used to be $18.99, now it's $30. Yep. So I'm going to start from the front. I'm Here Before Christmas. Bob's Burgers. Blue Velvet, cool movie. That was a good movie. Bohemian Rhapsody. About Queen, Freddie Mercury. Guardians of the Galaxy. I've got this one. I got that picture disc too. That's gone up $5. It's just really funny because right around 2006, 2008, you could go buy used records. They couldn't even give them away. You go with $300 and leave with 200 records at a couple places I went to. I mean, I'm glad there's a resurgence. Get that one. I got the first issue of this one. It was a green and white swirl. This one's green and yellow. But that's a good soundtrack. Cool film too. Reanimator. Let's see. I've been through those. Now we're gonna go look through local. What do we get for local? Pretty cool. Firestarter soundtrack, die cut cover. Those are always cool. You get the eye holes cut out. Bullmoose exclusive variant. That's for the Firestarter remake, which I've not seen yet. And we have one of the employees here wearing a mask. Some people are still wearing a mask. They're like 20 years old, and it's kind of like a status thing. It's letting you know that they are a Democrat liberal and they support all the Marxist crap. So that's who we got. All right, clearance. What do we got for clearance? Off. A lot of the newer music I'm not very familiar with, and I'm not very supportive of, because a lot of it's not very good. Some of it is. All right. Pre-owned. Run for your life. Thompson Twins. Toronto, I got that album. That's a good album. $3. Pre-owned. Let's see what we got. And then pre-owned. Is there anything good in here? Roger Whittaker. They released so many records back in the day. Those are discounts. More stuff I don't follow. Okay, pre-owned. Oak Ridge Boys. Osmond. cool album. Get that one. Annie Rabbit. Why does this sound familiar? Hate that when people dig through records and you leave the whole stack leaning forward. Bugs me. Alright. Never know what you're going to find looking through these. That's the thing. A lot of times it might be crap. Sometimes it isn't. Stewart. I got this record. It's pretty good. He's a good one. Leo Sayer.
Yes, I am. 11 to 7, full shift.
Greg Kihn Band. This is a great album. I got a couple copies of that one. It's got My Sharona on it. Ronnie Millsap. Country Moody Blues. That's a good album, actually. I got that one too. I gotta check that on YouTube. That guy sounds familiar. Wow, that's interesting. I got this one. I wonder if this is the marbled. Probably not. No, that's the black vinyl. So I have a marbled vinyl of this one. It's actually a big fold out. Mine is a multi-page gatefold. Oops, I broke it. Alright, Willie Nelson. Even get some of his records, he's not bad. Depends what you get. I got that record. Olivia. Juice Newton. Pretty good in her day. Actually, I should just check the condition of this first. too bad. Davy Drake. Cool cover. Hubba hubba. It's a good album. Lewiston. Fogelberg. Fifth Dimension. Good stuff.
There we go.
Got that album.
Yeah. Sure? I'm sure. That's the one I saw up this.
Right?
Yeah. And it's not on Netflix anymore.
The lyric sheet in this one.
We got Fox all-time favorites.
Right, so the Aerosmith and High Plains Drifter?
Yeah.
How do you want Easy Top?
I kind of want this one in there at the same time.
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
We'll get these ones next time.
Sure.
Sure?
Sure, I'm sure. Maybe finals if you're okay with it.
Do you want to take some money?
Sure. We're not in a rush though. Maybe I'll just go. This one, first one do his thing.
Going down here, check out. There's all probably all of them, right?
Probably. Yeah.
So I got that adjustment one.
Yeah. And then you got the what's his cover?
That's the one.
What's I was thinking for the cover.
Check on this drawing on the side. I think some of the art is pretty crazy, huh?
Was one of these bands were painting. Is that even illegal?
Yeah, I think it's
Anybody not somebody anything about the cover? Okay. Alright. I think that's something I want. Series of a Family Guy. Sure. Yeah. Maybe that's something I want. Just watching the Hops. Yeah, I can watch it as Hops. Me and Pot even bought both of them.
Oh, you bought them?
Yeah, we saw both Family Guy copies, and it was the last one, so we just took them. We're about to get the American Dad one, but we didn't think it was real good. We didn't check it out. We don't know what it's sold. Maybe you should buy one. Maybe we should buy some. Or get movies or Blu-ray. Maybe we should come and see it in my room. Yeah. Yeah.
You try it with movie concert?
Yeah, dude.
I like that.
Yeah, they were good.
I thought they were kind of crazy.
See right there? Yeah.
But I don't really,
Alright. You screen sound. That's weird. Not the artist is on there.
right, soundtrack is, music
Let me see if they have songs on there.
Half-speed mastering. I bet that sounds awesome. That's an audiophile vinyl. That's why it costs more.
Oh, never mind. Well, I don't think he's in things either. Just the sound. Just the sound. Yeah, probably. Sure. I haven't seen the movie yet. I mean, they took the pictures of the can, they just for one. That's ridiculous. Why would they do this? Probably. Sure, maybe I don't want to come back in. This idea is going to go sit down. Whoa! You make a TV box.
Oh. That might be a cool buy.
Make it grounded.
I got that album.
Or we should call it Make it grounded. Make a TV box to me.
Hmm. Well, hopefully the condition of a couple of these is pretty good. I'll check that out in a second. All right, where did you go? Where did you go in here? It's a good album. I'll get that one. I think I can salvage that.
I'm sorry, what was the title of that one? Double check on that.
Okay. That's just schmutz. It's got schmutz on it. Now this is one of these ultra thin records I hate, and I actually have a copy of this, and the one I have is damaged because it's so thin the edge of it got warped. So I think I'm gonna get this for $3 to replace that. Get some autograph.
If I can't find it right off the bat, I'll get the rest of your list from you, and I'll keep looking for this one. I'll give you a call back if I can't find it.
Alright, this one is, it's got some stuff on it, but I just used a little bit of my saliva to see if it loosened up, and that's how you check. You also run your finger on it, see if it catches anything. And it has the inner. $3 and crepes. This is the one I'm gonna have to check out. All right. So hey, hope you enjoyed that. I picked up a couple records. $2.95 each. One of them replaces one that I had damaged. So that's always good when that happens, especially for $3. So now I'm gonna head back home. My walking app has stopped, so I don't know how far I'm walking, but I do know from previous experience it was 3 miles here and about 3 back. But I confused my app. It didn't have enough RAM. So
you shouldn't even have to worry about
So now we're going to head back on a cloudy, cool day. So I hope you enjoyed my little excursion. Hopefully you got to see some of those records, and if I didn't include looking through those records in this video, that means the video didn't come out good. So if you did see those, then cool. So that person, excuse me, working behind the counter there, I have no idea who that was. I did not record the transaction on video, but that was I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know how they identify as. It was either just somebody that was gay, which is fine, or just somebody that was trans, which is fine. I don't like the Marxist ideologies that they push with pronouns and all that stupid nonsense. But anyway, this person was wearing a pink sweater with flowers on it. Had medium length, kind of curly hair, glasses, looked like eyeliner and mascara, but was wearing a mask, so you couldn't really see the face. So somebody is still masking, okay? That's the point I'm making. Don't know why. Maybe they're shy and self-conscious because they're trying to pass themselves off as something else. Which again, I really don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is shoving it down everybody's throat and going after the kids. And this damn social contagion, I'll call it. That's what I have a problem with. The politics, the cult-like behavior. So, I would hope America still stands for liberty and freedom and pursuit of happiness. I don't have a problem with that. Just don't force others don't force others to affirm your BS, you know what I mean? I think I said that properly. So anyway, well, this person was very nice, polite and everything. No, I got no issues. You know? The other person that was in the store is a jerk. doesn't work there, it's just somebody that was shopping. I didn't record that. But anyway, I got my old records. I got a Helix album that I didn't have on vinyl. I got a couple of theirs on vinyl. I had most of their stuff on cassette tapes because, you know, like I said at the time, I did a lot of bike riding at the time using a Walkman, a cassette player. So having portable tunes was important to me, and you can't do that with records, so I bought cassette tapes. I still have all those tapes, they all still play. I got a tape deck. Once in a while I do pop a cassette in there. If it's something I really want to hear and I only have it on tape. Some stuff I won't get though, like some stuff that gets reissued from the 80s. Very hard to find. Thrash metal, a lot of it's been getting reissued, and the original copies are going for $100, $150, $200 because they're very collectible, and I own quite a few of them. But there's some I don't own, like a band called Atrophy. I had bought their cassette tape back in the day instead of a vinyl record, and I wished I had bought the vinyl record. Probably wasn't available because it was coming out, stuff was coming out just when they were stopping putting out record albums, vinyls. So it's one of those things that they it's one of those things that either a local store at the time had it or they didn't. We didn't have internet sales. And what I'm hoping right now is that we don't get any rain, because album covers do not like water. I'd have to tuck it under my hoodie. So anyway, I got that Helix album, and I got that Jethro Tull album to replace the one I have at home that's warped and messed up and I can't play the first track. So that's good when you can find a replacement album for $3. It doesn't break the bank. But what I was alluding to with these vintage thrash metal bands that I like, you know, I got 4 or 5 of the original Overkill albums and Megadeth that were released. You know, they're all worth a bunch of money, and they've reissued them. But it seems like when an album is collectible, they'll reissue it, then they try to get all the money in the world for it. $35, $40 for a single LP, where it should be 25 bucks. And especially it should be even less than that, because it's not like a Taylor Swift album, you know, or Metallica or something. It's basically a band that was decent for 4 or 5 years. They went away and never heard from them again. So but anyway, the Atrophy one I was talking about, I have that on cassette tape. And cassette tapes were at $60, if you can believe that. And I also have it on CD. The CD, sometimes you can find it under 60. But I guess the point being is they reissued the Atrophy album last year, and they want $40 for it. Now listen, I'm not going to pay $40 for a friggin' reissue. That is friggin' insanity. It's just not going to happen. I see a lot of people on the internet, oh, I bought this new Beatles box set. Yeah, well, you know, you catch on pretty quick at what they do. They released the Beatles box set in stereo, knowing that most of the core Beatles fans that are still alive and breathing want the monaural releases. So they make no mention that in the future they plan on releasing the mono ones. They just released the stereo ones and fans go, oh crap, well it's better than nothing, I'm gonna buy it. $150. And then 2 years later, or a year later, they announced the mono box set. And then people go, oh man, well you got played, okay? That's what they do. It's called marketing. Trying to make money. So that Atrophy one got reissued on a special green vinyl, and I know from experience in a year or two it's going to get reissued again, and it'll be somewhere around $20. So, and it'll be like black vinyl or something, or maybe clear or something like that. That's just what they do. So, you know, you got to be patient with some of this stuff. And Atrophy, that band, that album's been on my list for a long time. The reissue has already sold out. I knew that would sell out. But these people paid $40 and they're going to be able to buy it next year for $20. That's all I'm saying. I got a lot of experience in that. That's just what they do, unless they say specifically that this is a limited run, it's the last time it's going to be done. Now when they say that, sometimes there's a catch to that too. Perfect example, I have the Queen remastered studio box set, completely remastered from, I want to say remastered, but I should say newly mastered. Well, they took all the original studio reel-to-reel recordings and had them restored, repaired them professionally, done properly. They are the absolutely best sounding vinyl records I have. Phenomenally done well. The Led Zeppelin reissues were done well also. And but each album has its own exclusive color variant vinyl, exclusive to that box. So they didn't go release the box set again, but they did go release them individually with different colors. So so the original ones that they have in the box set are the last time you're going to see those in those colors in the box set. But they went and released them all individually, different colors. So I got the box set, which has a book in it and some other stuff. Pretty neat stuff. I sold a couple of box sets and a couple of albums. One of them because I realized that it was a time to sell because of the demand right now. So I sold a liquid-filled Alien soundtrack. It's actually for the movie Aliens, and filled with fluorescent green alien acid blood. Very cool looking records, really are, but it's the kind of thing you never play in your collection. It's just there, can't really display it, and it's worth a fortune. So I sold it for well over $1,000. I got about $1,400 for it, for one double album. Some Chinese American guy in California wanted it, so he bought it. He was very happy with it too. Sent me a letter, said, "Oh my God, thank you. I've been looking for this. Only 50 of these were ever made in the world. Thank you." And I was like, "Well, thank you, you know." So I don't see that ever going up more than that. Famous last words, right? But I also sold a David Gilmour Live in Gdansk box set. I paid about $100 for it years ago, and I sold it for about, I think I got about $600 for that. So it's something they reissued, and I like the reissues. Somebody wanted the original, so you know, the reissue you can get for a lot less, but some collectors want the original. So they were real happy with that. So I got a lot of cool stuff kicking around in the collection. You know, I got another Queen Live at the Rainbow box set. I got Led Zeppelin box sets. Led Zeppelin Live at the BBC. Very collectible. Rare too, because when that came out, that was in the 90s. And it was released in Europe on vinyl. And limited numbers. And it was released on CD in the United States. And then it was released again in the early 2000s. And that's the copy I have. First time released in North America, so it's still collectible. But the European one is worth a lot more. So it's like, there's all kinds of cool things about collecting. I'm just happy buying, you know, like one of the albums I bought today, the Helix one. It was only $3 on it because it has the original sleeve inside, but there's some kind of schmutz on the record. And there was something that was a little solid, but I put saliva on my fingertip and it loosened up. And if you run your fingernails over it and it doesn't catch anything, chances are it's going to clean up and be just fine. So I use a 75% distilled water with 25% alcohol, rubbing alcohol. The first cleaning I give a record, it's a little more potent, 50-50. A 50-50 blend. But rubbing alcohol doesn't really damage vinyl, but if you use it pure, it'll kind of change the, doesn't really change the color of it, but it changes the shininess of it. So you don't want to do that. But when it's mostly water, it evaporates quickly and it does a really great job cleaning. Some people like to wash their records in soap and water in a machine that you run it through. But I don't want water anywhere near my record labels on the records. And you just know eventually that's going to happen, no matter how careful you are. And it's avoidable by using alcohol with a cleaning pad, using an old turntable as a lazy Susan to wash your record. So and there's nothing demonstrably different to make one better than the other. Mine works. My records sound as good as new, or as good as possible to them sounding new. So obviously it doesn't remove little ticks and noises, but It removed some of them because a lot of the ticks and noises are just crap that's in the record groove. Somebody put a record on while eating a greasy pizza, for example, which is what looks like what happened to this record. But I also noticed on the Helix record that the album cover had some creases, a little bit of moisture damage, like it was in a room that had steam or something. It doesn't look like direct water damage, but one of those things where and it's an old adage I've always said, that's fine with me. I don't listen to the cover, so I don't care what condition the cover is in. I listen to the record. That's what's important to me. Some people care more about the label, the jacket, the inner sleeve, the original lyric sheet, whether or not it's got the poster, and I care about that stuff too. But if I find a Helix record for $3 that I know is going to sound good and that I don't have, you pick it up, and if you find a better copy later, just replace it or keep both, whatever. I can tell this one's going to clean up nice. This is what I'm going to do when I get home after I take a shower, because I am all sweaty. So I am going to cross over here when I have a chance in the traffic, which I do. So despite being cloudy and kind of a cool day, it's a nice day. And the other thing I like about Bullmoose music is whenever you buy something there, you get Bullmoose points added in your account, and eventually you can get a pretty hefty discount on something, or you can pick something up for free with the purchase of something else. So, and the points do add up. I've done that before. Somebody bought a new vacuum cleaner. They get the box for the new one out, and they get the old vacuum cleaner on the side of the road. That bank sign says it's 30 degrees. It most certainly is not 30 degrees. So that much is honest and for true. craft fair. Craft fair at the Lewiston Armory. Thanks. Thank you. Well, that was nice. Somebody let me cross. Well, yesterday's weather was a lot nicer. Let's just put it that way. It was almost 70 degrees, bright sunshine. And today it's this crap. Crap. It's like I get a good sweat going and then you get this breeze and it's like it ruins it. It's like right in between where I should have wore a thicker shirt underneath this. But while I was in the store with them wearing now, I was hot. So So, sometime this week, I gotta take a drive to a local store here to buy some ammo. I'm on a mission to find some 308. They have some steel case Russian stuff at this particular place. And if they don't have that, I'll get some 223. Depending on what they have. So there's that. So it feels funny walking without my fitness app. But I know I'm going to have 6 miles in, so, because I've walked that route before. 5.8 to 6, somewhere around there. Close enough. Yeah, I got some trail mix, some Tex-Mex stuff. It's so good. I'll have some of that when I get back. The hell is that? It's a bath stopper. I had to go see what that was. Oh, we got some grass here trying to turn green. Some of it's brown, and that brown grass is actually from what the snow plows plowed. Calcium chloride stuff kills grass. So a lot of the grass along the side where they plow snow gets ruined. Pretty nasty stuff. The salt didn't used to do that, but they opted for calcium chloride because it does a better job melting things. And that sign over here says 48 degrees, which is accurate. It definitely feels chilly today. It's like we got teased with a couple of really nice days in the 60s. And now it's like, ha, we're gonna remind you it's Maine. 48 degrees. I want to thank you for walking with me again. It's always nice. I'm just an average person like everybody else. Oh, these are nice little yellow blossoms. How cool is that? Pretty nice. Go this way this time. I'm not on my regular route. I don't need to go up that way like I do sometimes to make it 5 miles. All right. She doesn't see me. She does now. Always gotta watch these other people. Like that one day I was crossing here and somebody was driving the wrong way, thinking that was an exit where it's an entrance. I yelled, "Hey!" They backed up and turned the other way. It was a young person. I probably spooked him. He was like, "Oh crap, I made a mistake. I'm gonna go hide somewhere." And the young guy doesn't want to get in an accident right off like that because his insurance is already high. So I want to get a shot of these two cars. cut across this way. GSX. Very nice. That's a nice looking buggy. Whew. Oh, 370. Okay, without the Cumberland Farms card, so it's 3.7. I'm not sure 3.7 what. One of the numbers ain't working. It's like 371. Part of the one is broken. Oh. No, their sign's messed up. I don't know what's going on with that. I think that's 371. So it looks like to me, it's just part of the one's missing. $361 without the card. Non-member $371. Tourist season starting. Price of gas nationwide is going to start going up. So we got these pro-Palestine student protesters on campus at Columbia University. Invaded late last night. They invaded a whole building, smashed the windows out, left graffiti all over the place on the inside. It cost thousands of dollars of damage, and the university didn't call the police on them. The university had just got done suspending some students because they were refusing to leave as protesters. So now the students took over. The lunatics are running the asylum. That's what happened. So anyway, they broke in, and I don't know if they're still in there, but in New York they didn't call the police on them because that's the option of the university to do that. So they're basically saying it's okay to do what you're doing. If they were Republicans, we would have armed National Guard there. And I understand that they don't want another Kent state with National Guard or police shooting students. But these students were talking about hostages and demands. It's a terrorist act, okay? They're mimicking Hamas. I have had about enough of it. So somebody needs to do something about it with some sanity. Kathy Hochul in New York is an idiot, the governor. She's not going to do anything about it. So thanks. See, that's what you do. You make him stop. Sure, he didn't like it. He's talking on his phone. Big, huge inconvenience. Well, pedestrians have right of way. That's it. That's the law. If you don't like it, change the law. So anyway, when I get back, I'll get something to eat. I'll pop in, see if they evicted those students yet or not. What's going on with that? Now, I'm not going to wish for violence. I never do that. Hopefully these kids don't teach these universities a tough lesson about what you get when you raise a bunch of young Marxists, which is what they did. So their own kids are coming back to bite them. And quite frankly, I'm enjoying it. So I'm not hoping they set fires and riot and do all kinds of stuff. I definitely do not wish that. But if it happens, I got a lot of microwave popcorn. That's all I'm saying. So with that, I think I'll end this walk. I hope you enjoyed the little venture to the record shop with me. I heard the little story about Bullmoose music. And I hope you have a beautiful week. And until our next walk, everybody, bye-bye. Have a beautiful week.